All right, guys. So we are back. Let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So we are back. Like again, I am yours truly, Dr. Pierre. Now, if you happen to catch yesterday's episode, I want to first apologize. When I get into the groove, like sometimes I forget to do like the things that you're supposed to do every time. As you can see from the background, I'm in a different part of the house and I thought I had everything set up. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. That's my wife let me know that the audio was working. I thought I had everything set up. You know, I got the lights, I got the camera, I got my computer, and I try to get away without using my mic, my trusty mic. I got the mic here. I said, oh, I probably don't need the mic. You know, the computer mic is fine. And when I did my, because I typically will like rewatch my lives just to say like, all right, I should have did this a little bit better. Maybe I should have said that. And totally like the sound was just so terrible. And the topic was so important that I figured there's no way I can just ignore it and be like, you know, I'll just chop it up to, you know, a bad episode. I've done that before. I'll be honest. I've done that before. But I said, you know, I got to record it. So if this is your first time catching this, right? Like, again, we are going live on all platforms, YouTube, Twitter, where are we at? Facebook, LinkedIn as well. So if this is your first time catching this, I am yours truly, Dr. Pierre, board certified internist. I am the host of Real Physician Reacts. This typically comes on every Thursday evenings. That's typically when we do it, unless we have like some audio issues like we had yesterday. And I'm so compelled, right, to again bring you my thoughts. You know, who am I? I'm so compelled to bring you my thoughts. I said I gotta say what I need to say. So we are going to be talking about an important discussion. Again, if you did not catch yesterday's, then totally just, you know, you don't even have to listen to what I said before. If this is your first time catching it, especially this topic, we're going to be talking about something that came across my social media platform, which was this unvaccinated person who was on the heart transplant list, or should I say, who was on the heart transplant list, but decides to say, you know what, I'm going to exercise my freedom of choice. And I'm going to say, you know what, I'm not getting that COVID vaccine. And we got a whole bunch of discussions. And what followed later is this social media, you know, bonanza that I'm seeing across my platforms. Boston Hospital refuses to give patient a heart. Boston Hospital removes patient off the heart transplant list because they refuse to get the code. That's all I'm seeing. And you know me, we've said this before on this platform. One thing about me is I'm all about the freedom of choice. We all have a choice to make in this thing when it comes to wearing a mask, when it comes to getting vaccinated, staying safe. We all have a choice. And when we decide, and I'm consistent, just like when we were talking about that one nurse, healthcare worker who I think they were working at Kaiser, you know, who decided, you know what, I'm not getting vaccinated, and they showed her the door, or that one teacher who said, I'm not getting vaccinated, and they showed her the door. I say, you know what, that is a win for democracy, because that's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for this ability to have this freedom of choice. And here we are. We're not going to, again, we are, especially in this country, we're not going to force you to get anything. You are not being forced to get any vaccine against your will. Not happening. Not here. Not in my country. But what's also not going to happen in my country is that your choices are going to have to run into some consequences. So we're gonna watch this video. Looks like his story made everywhere. We're gonna watch a clip off of Inside Edition of his parents, you know, pleading, you know, to us, right, the public, to I guess go against his will of choice and try to, you know, make us feel bad for him being off the transplant list. So let's take a look. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm like I said, I was so that's why I figured I had to repeat it, because there's no way like y'all could go without hearing like this amazing story and another win for freedom of choice. So let's get that here.
No COVID vaccine, no heart transplant. That's the ultimatum facing a young dad today. DJ Ferguson's heart is failing fast. Ferguson was at the top of the transplant list at world-renowned Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. But when they found out he's not vaxxed against COVID, they took him off the list. I spoke to his mother, Tracy. So why doesn't your son believe in the COVID vaccine?
He just doesn't believe that a vaccine can be manufactured in months.
So let's stop there. And guys, you know how I like to do. I like to give my 2 cents. We've talked about this before. We've talked about this aspect, and I'm gonna put a link in the description of how this vaccine came about. Because if you ask the general public, yes, thank you, I appreciate it. If you ask it again, just kind of highlight our comment here, right? Various topics. I love it. Love to see it, right? Like again, right? It just is what it is, right? And we're going to talk about this comment later. If you ask the general public, how long? If you ask 10 people, how long does it normally take a vaccine to come out? You're going to get 10 different answers, and that should tell you all you need to know. No one really knows the time frame that it takes to come up with a vaccine. There has never been any defined time frame. Now, is there defined steps along the way that you need to do to get said vaccine? 100%. 100%. But to say that there's some defined time frame is just incorrect. And again, shameless plug, I will put a link in the description. In fact, you should see the link in the description where I kind of talk about everything that need to happen for this COVID vaccine to come quote unquote fast. And the problem is, right, like this Mr. Ferguson and many others, they have latched onto this misinformation, this disbelief that somehow this vaccine came very fast. And if it came very fast, there's, oh my God, it can't be safe, right? Like, again, shameless plug. I did a whole podcast episode. We're not going to go into it now. Just, check the podcast episode if you want to. It was actually, let me see, episode 171 on my podcast. Just so, again, you can hear an in-depth discussion on what it means for a vaccine to come out fast. But like, let's go back to his parent.
Based on what he's read, and vaccines typically take years to evolve into an effective vaccine.
So again, I hate to interrupt it so quickly, but my first question would have already been like, what has he read? Like, what has he read that has caused this level of disbelief? Like, what credible source has he gotten this information from that says, you know what? I don't know, guys. This vaccine came out a little fast. I don't trust it. Even though my life is on the line, I don't trust it. Right? Just again, shocking, to say the least.
And with all this division within our country, it's hard to trust anyone.
A rep from the hospital tells Inside Edition the COVID-19 vaccine is one of several vaccines required for transplant candidates.
And I wish I could have stopped it there. That's important to know, right? That's important to know that this COVID vaccine isn't the only one out of one. Like, you get this one COVID vaccine and you're fine. There are several different vaccines you need to get on the transplant list. Several different vaccines. And when I made this TikTok about this military guy who wanted to, make a stance about how the military was forcing him to get the COVID vaccine. And in the comments, I even made a video. I said, how come I didn't see this video when he had to get the flu shot? Like, how come I didn't see this video when he had to get the pneumonia shot and the tetanus and every other vaccine? Why is it that we are making the COVID vaccine this big boogeyman of a vaccine when you're required to get several other vaccines? So again, this is what perplexes me as a physician, as one who takes care of patients with COVID in the acute setting, in the post-acute care setting, like in all these different levels, outpatient setting as well sometimes too. Like, this, what perplexes me is like, where is this fight for all of the other vaccines you're required to take? Why do I have to hear about, your stance because it's the COVID vaccine, right? It's just a different level of crazy.
benefits in order to create both the best chance for a successful operation and also the patient
survival, right? And I want to stop right there. In order to create the, in fact, let me big up that just so you can read it. In order to create the best chance for successful operation and also the patient survival. Like, ladies and gentlemen, we are not even talking about the operation. We're not talking about the fact that he is going to have an operation that takes his heart out and puts another person's heart in. We're talking about the COVID vaccine. And he's ready to draw the line at the vaccine, not the fact that you got to go through this extensive operation and everything else that happens after the operation. No. It's the COVID vaccine that you want us to believe is this like big ordeal that we should be concerned about. And again, mind you, I've said this before. I'm here for patients' freedom of choice. If your choice is I'm cool on that COVID vaccine, that means you're also cool on getting a new heart. That's what you're saying. Like you may be thinking that we're not going to force you. Oh, fam, you're okay. You don't want the vaccine? That's cool. Let me go to the next person who's not going to have a problem, right, with the requirements. Like, let me do that, right? It just is what it is. Just again, level of craziness that we have to deal with. Like, just shocking to me, right? Like, trust me, it's. Yeah, like again, just another comment, right? Very shocking. 1 in 10. This isn't like hearts just fall out of the sky. Like hearts don't just come out of nowhere. So for him to be on that list and apparently be very high up on that list and to act like it's a privilege for us to give him the heart, right? Craziness. Craziness, right? Let's continue.
survival.
We have very few organs, so we have to decide who's going to get them. And the way we decide is we look at who's most likely to survive the longest. So by saying I don't want a vaccine means that this patient is more likely to get COVID and die from COVID, and we could instead give the heart to someone who will live longer with it.
And my like at the time I'm recording this, we're literally in a pandemic. We're like, if you had to pick one vaccine to get as a person who is on the transplant list and is eligible to get a new organ, if you had to pick one vaccine, wouldn't you want to pick the vaccine that's literally affecting the whole world, right? That's like, as we speak, I just read an article yesterday here in the United States. Last week, Omicron variant is responsible for 99% of the cases of the coronavirus. So we're going through another surge after surge of this coronavirus that's caused this pandemic. And here you are on Al Gore's internet telling us, right, that the COVID vaccine is where you draw the line. Like, that's what you're telling us. And you want us healthcare professionals and people who take care of people who are dying to be on the position that you are on that list. You want us to feel some type of way about it. No, I don't think so. Not over here. Not on this series.
Ferguson has 2 kids and a third on the way.
Let's stop there, y'all. Can I be real with y'all for a second? I am a father of 3. I'm an uncle, a cousin, a son. Could you imagine me looking my family in the eyes? I got 2 kids. Like, I'm this guy. I got 2 kids. I got 1 on the way. I'm telling my wife, I don't know, that COVID vaccine, I don't know about it. I'd rather get myself off the heart transplant list, which means that I increase my risk of dying much sooner, which means leaving you alone much sooner and leaving you to have to take care of these 2 kids plus 1 on the way much sooner, because I read somewhere that this vaccine came out of nowhere. Let's process that. Like, we have to process that's what's happening. He's looked his wife in the eye. They got 2 kids, a third on the way. He's looked both his parents and say, you know what? That vaccine came out too fast, and I'm good. I'm good on that. My body, my choice. I'm good on that. Nah, that's just crazy. That's just a level Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Pregnant partner Heather Dawson posted an update today in which she suggested he was having a change of heart about the vaccine. Is DJ in a position where he now needs a vaccine to get a life-saving procedure? Yes. Is he going to choose to die instead of getting it? No.
Now again, like this is what I'm talking about. Like, why do I have to read about you on social media? Why is this even a news story? Like, you said you don't want the vaccine came out too fast, then you should keep quiet. Don't come on to the news and telling all these news outlets and every outlet who wants to interview your parents that the hospital is refusing to give you one because you're not going to get vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. Like, don't do that, right? Like, don't get mad when the hospital removes you off the heart transplant list, right? Because you're non-compliant. That's what we do with non-compliant patients. Like, we move them to the back of the line and say, hey, who wants to be compliant? Like, that's is what we do, right? And the fact that it took to the point, like, first of all, he's on the list to get a heart transplant. He was already close to dying, right? That was already happening. Like, that was already going to occur. So to make it seem like now, like, oh my God, I'm not sure. And again, mind you, again, they have not mentioned any of the other vaccine he would have to take. Haven't mentioned it, right? But like, to make it seem like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm at death's door, maybe I'll decide to get this vaccine. Maybe, I don't know, right? Again, it's just a slap in the face and to the people who are on that list and never had the opportunity to get a new organ. We're not even say heart, new organ, new liver, new eye, new whatever. Never had that opportunity because they died beforehand. Right? They would have loved. Like, let's think about this for a second. Let's say I was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic, and because I'm an alcoholic, my liver is shot, and now I need a new liver. And when it comes time to put me on the list, the doctor said, hey, you know what? You can be on this list here, but you got to stop drinking that alcohol. And I'm like, doc, you know what? I'd rather have my alcohol. And then I get mad when the doc in the hospital says, hey, if he's going to keep drinking, we're not going to keep him on our list. Right? If I'm not going to follow the rules to be on the list, I cannot be mad when someone takes me off said list. Right? Again, remember, freedom of choice. Right? If you make the choice to continue drinking alcohol, you're making a choice to say, you know what? I don't want a new liver. Take me off the list. If you know the requirements are to get vaccinated with a plethora of vaccines, and we haven't even talked about all of the other medications that he would have to take after he gets a new organ, that depresses your immune system, which makes it so that your immune system, because if you don't, guess what happens? Your immune system recognizes, hey, there's some foreign object inside of me. I need to fight it. So we have to give you medications to stop your body from trying to attack the new organ we just gave you. Do you think we're going to waste an organ on a person who already says, yeah, you know what? I'm good on that. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not getting the vaccine. It came out too fast. From what I read, it came out too fast. No, it's not here. Not now. And that's why, again, it's all about freedom of choice, right? But your freedom of choices will never exclude you from any consequence from said choice.
Will your son get the vaccine?
We don't know. We're taking every day. Every day his condition changes, and DJ wants to live for his family. He could change his mind.
Imagine, and when she talks about his condition change, it's not like it changes for the better. Like, if you're on the point when you need a new heart, every day is the clock ticking. So you're not getting better, a couple of days and work. No, it's a downhill slope. And to the point where you had to get to this point here, sitting in a hospital, again, sending out pictures so people can feel bad and sorry for your decision, right? It ain't gonna happen here. That's not what we're gonna do, right? Here, especially on Real Physician Racks, we are all about said freedom of choice. I've said this from the beginning. from the start of the pandemic, since we got medications and vaccinations, since we got all, I said, hey, it's a person's choice. But understand that your choice will come with a consequence, whether you like it or not. And you can't be mad at the consequence that occurs because you decided to make a choice. That it does not work like that. So again, Mr. Ferguson, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's going to have a change of heart and decide, you know what, I'm going to get vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, as well as all of the other vaccines I have to get. I'm going to do that because I have 2 kids, 1 on the way. I don't want to leave them alone. I have a wife. I don't want to leave her alone. I have parents. I don't want to leave them alone. I have friends and family who are looking at me and probably shaking their head and saying, you mean to tell me you're going to let the COVID vaccine take you? The lack of, like, mind you, we're not even talking about some adverse effect. He is going to allow just getting the vaccine and getting that opportunity to get on the list to deter him from getting on that list. So I applaud. I think it was Brigham Young was the hospital. I applaud him, right? And see, I love it. So, I mean, look at it. 6 to 14 vaccines for, like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, what are we actually talking about? Right. Flu shot every year. Every year. You know me. I've been talking about a flu shot for years. Flu shot every year. So what are we actually having conversations about? Like, this is the level of craziness that we in the healthcare field sometimes have to deal with, right? But again, remember, we're not going to force you to take 6 or 14. Again, like I said, we don't even hear about the other ones he's refusing. We, for some reason, we just keep hearing about the COVID. But again, Mr. Unvaccinated man who says, you know what, I'm cool on that. The vaccine came out too fast. I don't trust it. I read somewhere. I watched somewhere. I don't trust it. While sitting in a hospital bed, begging for another heart. Again, we don't wish any ill for anybody here. But what we do wish is that everyone gets their wish. So if your wish is that freedom of choice, right? It says, I'm not going to get that vaccine. I'm cool on that vaccine. Then enjoy every consequence or every freedom that comes with it. Just craziness, right? Again, I just want to first of all shout out to my brother Andre for blessing us with a lot of great information on just the aspect of just transplant lists, right? Like, again, like can you imagine, like, because this is his field. This is what he does, right? So I'm pretty sure he can't even fathom, right, having to explain to a patient's family, like, hey, you know what, I can't, I gotta, he can't get a new organ. He's refusing a vaccine that everyone has to take to get on this list. He's refusing it. So they're taking him off, right? I can't explain it. It just is what it is, guys. So again, it is yours truly, Dr. Barry. And again, next Thursday, we will be back on our regularly scheduled program to talk about, because unfortunately, especially with this pandemic, every week something crazy pops off. Every single week. We still got to talk about that tennis player. I'm going to talk about him. I've been meaning to talk about him for a couple of weeks. We're going to talk about him probably next week. Right. So you guys be blessed. Have a great day. It's the weekend. Stay safe. And like I said, God bless Mr. Ferguson, his family, and whatever decision he comes out with. Good for you, sir.